all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to my channel. Today is Atheist Church, and I was having a hard time figuring out what I was going to do for Atheist Church. Today, it's kind of gotten more and more difficult for me to find things for Atheist Church, so please help me out, and put in the comments what you would like to see on Atheist Church, and I will do my best to do it. All right. So I've only been a Protestant before I turned atheist, okay? So most of what I'm going to be saying here has to do with Protestants and not the Catholics. However, the Protestants borrowed a lot from the Catholics, which doesn't really make any sense to me because the Protestants think the Catholics are wicked and all this shit. So why would they be borrowing anything from the Catholics? Anyway, now, and also I have to explain that I do believe that some of the shit they made up knowing that it was shit, whereas some of the things I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on. Okay. So, going back to Jesus, very beginning in Christianity, right? Did the church make up Jesus? I don't know. I know they made up their own version of Jesus, okay? But I don't know if they made up Jesus. He could have been a real dude. There are plenty of Messiah figures running around first century Judea. Plenty of them got crucified. Um, you know, did he rise from the dead? Fuck no. Nobody comes back from the dead, okay? If he did rise from the dead, he was never dead to begin with. I mean, this is why. Okay. Has anybody heard the term saved by the bell? Or the phrase, rather, saved by the bell? Okay. So the phrase saved by the bell actually came about because back in the 19th century, they were burying people alive and not knowing it. These people, hey Hayward, hey Limited, these people called the doctor and the doctor said he died or she died. They're dead. Nothing you can do about it. This is also where the weight came from, but we'll get into that another day. So, Saved by the Bell. So they were burying people alive, not knowing they were alive. And when they found this out, they decided to put bells on the caskets that would be above the ground and tie a little string to the person's big toe so that if the person woke up, then they could ring that little bell and the people would come running and dig them up. Um, so that's where the term "saved by the bell" came from. Really happened. It really happened. And then wakes. They're usually Irish wakes. I haven't heard of any other kind of wake, but an Irish wake. But if and if you have, then please let me know in the comments. But I've only ever heard of Irish wakes. Those came about because they wanted to make sure their loved one was really dead before they put him in the ground. And they figured that 3 days was enough for that. So yeah. All right. Now, so somebody made up the resurrection. Was it the church? No, because this happened way before the church came along. Uh, Either Catholic or Protestant or Orthodox or whatever. It happened way before, right? So my feeling on the matter is that I agree with Pelagia, um, that it was a post bereavement hallucination. Hey, Godless Sewing. Oh, okay. Thanks, Nevermore. 3 days is traditional Mexico too. Cool. All right. So, so Peter has this post bereavement hallucination and is telling everyone that, you know, Jesus has come back, which post bereavement hallucinations are normal. If you get a post bereavement hallucination, don't go run into a mental health professional, please. They have their plates full. Post bereavement hallucinations are perfectly normal. Okay. Um, Not very many religions come out of it, but okay. Now, Paul, on the other hand, oh God, I have a lot to say about Paul, but that's not for this broadcast. I hate Paul, by the way. I don't know. Could be. But anyway, Paul's um, letters, um, by the way, Paul was the only author in the New Testament that had a chance in hell of knowing Jesus personally, and he says he didn't, okay? But he said he um, saw Jesus in vision, okay? So, um, and I've already made my um, stance on that perfectly clear, you know. Um, I think he either had temporal lobe epilepsy or he had a temporal lobe um, stroke, both of which could um, could account for his religious hallucination. So anyway, moving on. Um, Okay. So, um, so if Jesus was real, we have, yeah, yeah, Big Zebra, I said that. I'm not sure if you heard me or not. Sorry about that. Yeah, because I have temporal lobe epilepsy and I get religious visions, which is why I don't believe in God because I've seen God, right? And if I can't say, okay, this is just my epilepsy, as opposed to, yeah, this is real, why should I believe? But anyway, moving on. Okay. So, um, so then a movement started around this guy, right? I don't remember them, Big Zebra. All I know is that I've had them. So anyway, well, Paul did write his own letters. Anyway, okay. So moving on in time, you've got um okay. So this is the first thing the church made up. Okay. The only wide scale persecution of Christians was under Nero. And that happened because of the fire. And Nero blamed the Christians because he knew they weren't really popular anyway, and people would believe that they had started the fire. So that was the only wide scale state sponsored persecution of the Christians. Okay. The other stuff never happened. Okay. There could have been little pockets here and there, but they would have been by individuals. All of this stuff about um, Christians being fed to the lions, that would have been about the time of Nero. I mean, you know, it wasn't 300 years like they're saying. Okay. So, so yeah, they made that up. First thing they made up, if we're going chronologically, by date, what they made up. Um, okay. So then we get to the Council of Nicaea. And ev- a lot of people think, even a lot of Christians think, by the way, Christians, learn your own fucking religion, okay? A lot of people, including a lot of Christians, think the Council of Nicaea decided what was going to be in the Bible. No, that was the Council of Trent. Moving on, um, Council of Nicaea decided the Trinity doctrine. Now, there were two camps in the church. There were the Arians who thought um, Jesus had been a created being, um, and there was the Trinitarians who thought Jesus was co eternal and co equal with God. And so the Council of Nicaea was called to um, settle this question. And there were enough Trinitarians at the council um, to settle on the Trinity. Now, I gotta ask, if this is the truth, why the fuck are there councils all over the place trying to figure out what the doctrine is? The truth is the truth, and it doesn't need to be decided on, and it doesn't care whether you like it or not. So, um, oh, I have a Marvin the Martian um, USB drive. The body is the USB drive, and the head goes on top to protect it. Can't find it right now. But anyway, maybe I'll show it to you later. But anyway, all right, Council Nicaea. So they just made up the Trinity out of the clear blue sky. Okay. Uh, well, Texas right here. He's sleeping. And I don't know where Callie went to. But anyway, hey Wesley. Um, okay. So we talked about the resurrection. We talked about the Trinity. Um, oh, Paul being a good guy. I'm not going to get into it, but Paul was not a good guy, okay? He just wasn't. He was a misogynistic asshole. And all you got to do is look at the New Testament, excuse me, to figure that out. Because he was an asshole to everyone. That's why nobody wanted to work with him. Um, also, um, maybe Big Zebra. Also, when we get on into the Protestants, okay, what did the Protestants make up? The Protestants made up the rapture. Okay, nowhere in the Bible does it say rapture, nor does it ever give the idea of a rapture. That's total nonsense. I have a rapture video I made maybe a year or two ago. So if you really want to all the ins and outs, go watch it. But basically, there was this 14-year-old Scottish girl who had a vision of the rapture. That's where the doctrine of the rapture comes from. Yeah, the 14-year-old Scottish girl. Speaking in tongues. The Pentecostals like speaking in tongues. And some of them also handle snakes. Uh, yeah. If I ever go back to a church and they bring out snakes, I'm out of there. Uh, totally made up. I mean, that's not even in the original Mark. That is in the added 12 verses, I think, of Mark. That's in the added version of Mark. And most versions of the Bible nowadays will have a little footnote that these verses are not in the original Mark. Um, yeah. Um, I don't know who added those verses, but whoever did has a lot of blood on his hands because we've got crazy Pentecostals drinking poison, handling deadly snakes. What about this makes sense? So, all right. Satan or the serpent being Satan. That's another thing they made up. Um, when Genesis was written, and actually, this is all throughout Judaism, except in Second Temple Judaism after the exile when they came back. Okay. So before that time in Judaism, there was not a supernatural bad guy uh, of any kind. When you see Satan in the Old Testament, like in Job, okay, it's actually a title, it's not a name. And it means opposer or it means accuser. So anything and anyone can be a Satan. Like, take the angel in Balaam's way, he was a Satan. Okay. So, but nowhere in Genesis does it say that Satan took on the form of a serpent in the Garden of Eden to tempt Eve. Read it. It doesn't say that. And I say this in um, my live stream reinterpreting Tanakh through a New Testament lens. Um, and that's one of the things I point out. Um, anyway, guys, leave Wesley alone. He's harmless. So, when his timeout runs out, Big Zebra, Or, you know, I mean, if you just blocked him on your end, that's fine. But Wesley's, he's fine. He's harmless. You know, don't time him out. Um, so anyway, so there's a lot of things they made up, right? I mean, a lot of things they made up. And I just I'm just covering the basic things. I mean, if you really want to cover what they made up, we'd be here at least all day, if not more. But I do want to point out one more thing before I let you go for the day. And it is this: they made up a Messiah figure, or rather, to be more specific, they made up Jesus to be a Messiah figure. Um, Now, in Isaiah 53, it's talking about the suffering servant. And I've said this before. Who is the suffering servant that Isaiah is talking about in Isaiah 53? Go back to Isaiah 52. The question is answered in Isaiah 52. Israel is the suffering servant that Isaiah is talking about. It's not talking about Jesus. It's talking about Israel. Okay. All right. So, also, um, there's also some messianic prophecies that the church will say refer to Jesus. Um, but there are very specific messianic prophecies that Jesus did not fulfill. And that is a whole live stream in and of itself. In fact, um, I'm not sure Nevermore. I think it means anointed one. So technically, kings are messiahs in that sense. But in fact, if I can, I'm going to try to get Rabbi Toby Singer on here to talk about all the ways in which the Christians have turned messianic prophecies on their head to try to make it fit Jesus. Because he's great at this. He's great at this, you know. And, why reinvent the wheel, right? And especially if I can get a Jewish rabbi on here to talk about it, it has a whole lot more weight than an atheist talking about it. So hopefully I can get that done. And if I can't, that's fine. I'm still going to do it. Um, but like I said, that's an entirely different um, live stream about the messed up way the church has handled the messianic prophecies. Okay, so I think that's going to be all for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below. And don't forget, please leave comments giving me ideas for Atheist Church because I am running out. Um, well, nevermore, according to the Christians, it shouldn't burn. Did it burn? Because according to the Christians, the scripture shouldn't burn. Go figure. They lied. Hell, I bet a bunch of crap. But anyway, so like I said, that's all for today. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Watch my other stuff if you haven't already. I'm going to try to get something out for my members today. It might be tomorrow. It'll be coming out for everyone on Tuesday. So look out for that. It's another John Pendleton debunk. So yeah. Um I will see you guys later and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.